So excited to have on our next guest. And for that, I'm actually going to break out my little swag. Hey,
Oh,
Sean Mann with us here on the MegaCast. He's the co-owner for the Detroit City Football Club. So great to have you with us.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, love the scarf.
You know what? It is one of the best times in local sports. I will go to one of your games over a Tigers game, a Lions game, any day of the week. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, I mean, well, I always say great, but I mean, it's certainly been a tough time to be in the business of gathering large groups of people together on a regular basis. But we are managing, and we actually have our first game with fans this coming Saturday. So it's exciting to, have a light at the end of the tunnel here.
That is, I know the fans are going to be so excited. But before we even kind of jump into this season and how you got here, let's talk about how you all got started, because you have a great story.
Yeah, no, so this is our 10th season for DCFC. It actually started out of a recreational soccer league I started in the city back in 2010. And through that, a group of us guys over beers said, hey, Detroit, deserves a soccer team. And, we thought we could do it and do it in kind of a grassroots entrepreneurial way that we felt kind of represented this time in the city of Detroit. And we each chipped in a couple $1,000, which is enough for training tops and a league fee and a lawnmower and some goals at Cass Tech. And we got going. And so now here we are, 10 years later, basically, and, fully professional men's team. We've launched a women's team. And now we have over 2,400 kids that play in our youth system across Metro Detroit. So it's just been a pretty wild ride, to say the least.
Did you ever anticipate it would get this big?
Yeah, but I mean, I could never have guessed like how or when or who all would be involved. But I think we've always been pretty ambitious. I mean, our stated goal is to be a Detroit soccer team. And, this is a sports town. And so I think we're always being driven to like keep growing and doing it in a way that's sustainable, but like, really captures kind of this region's love of sports and, in particular soccer.
Sean Mann with us here on the MegaCast. He's the co-owner for the Detroit City Football Club. And with that, Sean, it really is about the fans. The fans make this league. And it's like you said, it's the interaction. So last year when things got shut down, how did the fans take it?
Yeah, I mean, we are not billionaires. My wife can attest to that. Like, we are just normal guys. And so, our lifeblood is those supporters who are in the stands at Keyworth and who follow and support this club. And so for us, last year was going to be a huge year. It was our first year as a professional club, starting this national league. We actually had a game February 29th in LA, our first ever professional game. And then, the following week, kind of the wheels fell off. And just for us financially, it was a really tough time. Sponsor checks weren't all quite in the door yet. Our having people at Keyworth is like our main driver of revenue, whether that's ticket sales or merchandise or whatever. So, it put a huge crimp in our finances. But I guess not that we were too casual about it or flippant. Like, we always knew we'd find a way to get through this just because of that support that surrounds this team, the dedication that people have, the community that has grown around it. And so really, it was that community that made sure that we got through it. So last summer, we actually offered up, similar to like Green Bay Packers, we offered up 10% of our club, the equity in the club, to the fans. And through that capital raise, we had the reserves to get through 2020 and position ourselves this year for even more growth.
So what was the response? Did the fans step up?
Yeah. So we reached actually the federal limit on what we could raise in just over 4 days. It was funny, like we worked with Lafayette American, the ad agency, good friends of ours, on an ad campaign. and the campaign went live on a Friday. Our billboards were supposed to go up on Tuesday, and by Tuesday morning we hit the federal cap on how much we could raise. And so, there was these billboards up, but like we actually weren't in a position to raise money. So, no, I mean it was one of the things we actually couldn't we couldn't do any media about it until it went live. And so, from the moment it went live, people just jumped at it, and that's what kind of drives us in a lot of ways is having those fans in the stands, not just the players on the field who, definitely respond to it, but like us as the front office, and seeing that visually, that community. And so being denied that all last year, you did kind of feel like you're in a void. And so having people step up the way they did and invest in the future in the club, it was very, very reassuring and, heartwarming for us.
So we know Sean Mann with us here on the MegaCast from Detroit City Football Club. And Sean, anyone who's ever been to a game knows it's an event. It is not just a sporting game. It really is an event. It's about the tailgating prior, the march over to the ball field. How are you going to manage that this year?
To your point, what I tell staff and then the players too, we're in the business of memories, right? And I think we've created the most memorable sporting experience in town right now. And it stays with you. It's that water cooler moment, like Mondays, after your DCFC game, you tell people where you went. And actually we did a fan survey. 83% of our fans in the last year pre-COVID, had actively recruited a friend or family member to come to a game. That's our marketing arm. So we really orient ourselves around that match day experience, the one that the supporters create. And so, as we prepare for this, return here, it really is working with those supporters on, what we can do, what we can't do. I think you're going to see the smoke. You'll see some chanting. You're not going to see the bodies wedged up against each other, the massive fans like you would in the past. But I think people are going to be surprised by, just how much energy those 1,500 fans in Keyworth are going to bring to the match day.
So for those that maybe have not been to one of the games, typically the party starts at the Foaling Warehouse for kind of the pregame excitement, and then there is a march through the neighborhood over to the field there in Hamtramck, and it really is a sight to be seen. And it's like you said, I had a friend take me, and I was like, how did I not know about this? And then you tell other people, and you tell other people. But we do know, really the bottom line comes from those ticket sales, the merchandising sales, and, probably the food sales as well. But how is it going to be this year if you can't have as many fans in the seats?
So thanks to the support that we had from last year with our supporters investing in the club, we've actually been able to bring on some staff. And so, knowing that we were going to have capacity restrictions for a good portion of this year, we've been growing on the corporate partnership side. In particular, this Saturday's game will be our first ever game broadcast on statewide TV. And so actually in the top 5 markets in Michigan, we'll have stations covering the game. And so, we've had some great corporate partners step up and, invest in the club as well. And so, that's kind of the way we're bracing for limited crowds and to position ourselves for growth going forward.
So with that, Sean, too, can you talk a little bit about the players? Where do you recruit them?
Yeah, so on the men's side, our head coach, Trevor James, he's coached at the top levels or been a scout at the top levels of the game globally and worked under some of the most legendary coaches in the world of soccer. And so his Rolodex and contacts are pretty limitless. And so we have some fan favorites who have been with us. Actually, we have one player who's been with us all 10 seasons, Cyrus Sadie. But there's just a large kind of cache of guys who are looking to get into the professional ranks. And so we have some local talent, but we also have players from, across the world on the squad. And so, I love Detroit sports. I enjoy my games at Comerica or Ford Field, but I think one thing that's differentiating us right now is that we're actually the team winning pretty consistently. I showed up at the office this morning and the guys just got back from our preseason tournament in Chattanooga, and they left the trophy on my desk here.
That's
so it was
awesome.
a pleasant thing to walk in on. So, Since Trevor joined our coaching rank, this is his third season. We've been in 5 competitions and we've won 4 of them. And so, so we have a culture of winning here that we're going to keep pushing, going forward. So it's not just a fun atmosphere, but we win.
Yeah, I love that. You did good point, though. Detroit teams are not winning right now, and you are. And we know soccer is huge overseas and in Europe. While it's gaining steam here in the United States, especially around Olympic times. But do you anticipate as we go forward, it's going to continue to grow here in the United States?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you take anything for granted. I think it's been considered like the next sport for like a couple generations now on the cusp. Obviously, you're seeing a lot of investment. Frankly, teams didn't exist at our level, a decade ago when we first started this. So the rapid expansion of professional soccer, is pretty dramatic. And so, U.S. will be hosting the World Cup in 2026 with Mexico and Canada. And that always leads to a boost of interest in the sport. I think for us, though, the focus has always been creating a team that resonates with people here in Detroit and that people care about. And we're trying to build a generational, project here. So, we've been growing our youth ranks with the idea that, ideally maybe one of those kids someday will play for DCFC, but more than anything, we want them to have a positive experience, love the game for life, and in particular, love DCFC.
So this year, you are also bringing in the women's side.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we've now got over 2,000 kids in Metro Detroit that play for DCFC teams. And, I think as we were growing on that side, one of the things that people kept bringing up was that, where's the women's side? Where's the team for the girls to look up to? And so I guess, we knew we wanted to be in a place where we felt like we could do it right and we could treat the women's team equally to the men's team. And so, we finally, I feel like as an organization, we've gotten to that point. And so the women, they play a shorter season just because of the nature of their league, but games will be televised statewide. I know our fans are going to show up just in the same numbers and with the same passion for the women as the men's team. And, I think we're going to kind of reorient what, a women's soccer team could be in this country at this level, without a doubt.
And that is so fun. And especially if you have the capacity limits, this is twice the fun this year.
Yeah. Right. It's, I think some of our fans, especially the ones who do all the organizing and planning, are a bit intimidated by just the sheer number of games we're going to have this year. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Pretty much every Saturday night, we got a game at Keyworth, in May, June, and July. So should be great.
So with that, how can people get tickets? Do they have to be season ticket holders this year?
So we already sold out of our season tickets, given the capacity restrictions. We had a small limited number of tickets we sold for May. And we have not opened up tickets yet for late June or later in the season. We're just waiting for the next update from the state government, the health department. We're just taking a kind of a month-by-month basis just to see how the current situation evolves.
Sean Mann with us here on the MegaCast. He is the co-owner for the Detroit City Football Club. And with that, Sean, you just mentioned, trying to help navigate the rules and regulations that come down. And sometimes they are at the last minute. What's that been like for you and your team? Because like you said, you're not, billionaires sitting behind, a ball team like the Tigers and with a staff of hundreds to quickly navigate and make these changes.
Yeah, I mean, right. That's why I think we have to kind of wait, until these rules come down. We also, as we've grown over the years, we now have Detroit City Fieldhouse, an indoor facility, the old Red Wings practice facility down just outside downtown, and inside that we have our bar restaurant. So, we've been navigating these regulations from multiple different business perspectives and all the youth clubs as well. And I think the governor and her team's done a commendable job. Inherently there's, some frustrations and, how things line up, but we understand where it's coming from. And also we're not going to be too casual when it comes to our fans' safety. And, our fans have been pretty clear about that as well, that they've been pretty cautious. So, all we can do is just hope people get their vaccines and numbers go down and we can start, getting back to some degree of normalcy when it comes to people at the stadium.
Just another minute or two with you here on the MegaCast. We are starting to see more teams. I think the Dodgers just announced that they're going to have vaccinated sections. Do you anticipate anything like that down the line?
No, I don't. I mean, I think the situation's evolving to a point where, I mean, I saw Connecticut just announced yesterday that they're allowing 100% capacity at games. I think all we can do is hope and promote, people getting their vaccines and, doing what they can to be safe. And we'll just have to wait for the situation to play out.
How do you guys come up with all the chants and, the hoopla surrounding it? Because it's great marketing,
Yeah. We've always had the adage as the front office, as the ownership, that we are the host of the party, not the life of the party. And so we allow really our supporters to really, run with creating that atmosphere. And so, we have a relationship with them, but really that's on them. Like the smoke, the tifos, the big banner displays, the songs, there's some degree of like what's acceptable and what's not, but generally that's them. And we don't try to interfere. You're not going to see us with the cheerleaders or the flamethrowers. That's not our game day. It's really the kind of more participatory. It's the fans doing it and leading it. That's what really sets us apart.
That is so fun. It is so fun. So with that, Sean, where can people find more information so that they can monitor if they want to try to get tickets to go to a game?
Yeah, our social media channels, Detroit City F.C., all the main channels. The best way to follow us, our website, detcityfc.com.
Sean, Mann, anything maybe I didn't touch on that you want to add before we say goodbye?
No, I mean, you can't make it down to the game if you don't already have tickets, but we'll be on TV 20 locally, and definitely check it out. It should be a great broadcast, and we'll look forward to winning for Detroit.
We like that you guys are winners, but you definitely know how to throw a party. So again, thank you. And thank you for all the hard work. I can't imagine what it's been like over the past 10 years. So we're lucky to have all of you. So thank you again.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.